In this video, we are going to be talking all about music and sound and how music can actually alter our energy and why we should probably know it, especially if we're going through a spiritual awakening or if we're tapping into our own spirituality, how music can play a very big role in which path we can take during that time. I have actually been wanting to channel information on music because I love music. I sing all the time. I might not be the best singer, but I do it anyway. And I'm listening to music all the time, but I knew intuitively there was something going on when it comes to me personally when I listen to certain types of music or hear certain sounds and frequencies. I am an auditory learner, and so sound has a big impact on me. And I knew that I probably was somewhere on the spectrum when certain noises would just really bother me. And I will admit that I will actually just walk around my house in complete silence sometimes because I love not hearing something. It's just very calming to me. So I'll put noise canceling headphones on and just live. So, but that's a whole other story. Yeah. But I really wanted to just channel information on it because I never have before. And I was just doing it more out of fun, and I thought I would share the information with you. My name is Catherine. I'm an energy healer, spiritual coach, and nurse practitioner. If you need personalized coaching or an energy healing from yours truly, you can go to my website at catherineglassman.com, or you can email me at hello@catherineglassman.com. Please pardon my background. I am in the midst of traveling back and forth to a neighboring city, which is an hour away. And so I have been trying to figure out how I am going to continue creating YouTube content while also traveling to this town regularly. And I knew one of these days I was just going to have to compromise and maybe shoot a video in my car. And so here we are. Don't mind this. This is for my dogs. It's just, it's very human. I'm very human and I'm trying. I'm really trying. Which brings me to another point. For those of you who are still watching my content, and for those of you who are leaving comments, thank you. Seriously. You're literally the reason why I'm doing this. From the bottom of my heart, truly. I really have struggled with YouTube and really sticking with it because I do enjoy it, and I do enjoy channeling the information. But what really keeps me going is the validation that I get from you guys. Because being on the spiritual path can be very lonely, and it can make you feel like you're just alone and kind of crazy. And I don't know if there are other people that are experiencing the things that I'm experiencing. And so when you guys even watch this and when you comment and when you interact with me, it lets me know that I'm not alone. And so truly, I'm going to get back to all of your comments. I'm going to do it. You'll have to forgive me. My life has been very human, and it's kind of frustrating, but I love you guys. I really appreciate it. So thank you. So please keep in mind that a lot of this information is channeled through meditation. And of course, some of it I've had to research. So I will let you know which is which. So why is sound and music even important, especially when it comes to your spiritual practice? Well, the entire universe is made up of energy, right? Everything is made up of energy. And so sound and frequencies are just another form of energy that can have an impact on another type of energy. So in the case of music and sound, when it comes to humans, there are sound waves or sound frequencies that can have an impact on a molecule or an atom, which is what a human body is made of. And so from what I've researched, there are three main types of sound. There is audible sound, infrasonic sound, and ultrasonic sound. So audible sound is something that we are actually able to hear, and that's typically between 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz, give or take. Infrasonic sound is below 20 hertz, and that is something that we typically cannot hear because it's too low of a frequency. And then ultrasonic sound is above 20,000 hertz, which is too high of a pitch for humans to hear. And by the way, hertz is just a measurement unit that is like a vibration per second. So animals can hear sounds at different frequencies or different hertz. And so I recently learned that elephants can actually hear below 20 hertz, which is how they communicate. So why does this even matter to us? It matters because everywhere you go, every interaction that you have, for the most part, if you have, functioning hearing, you are receiving a frequency of some sort through the use of sound. And if you're someone like me who likes to listen to music often, that different type of music is going to have an effect on your energetic frequency. So when I was meditating on this and I was getting a visual, what I got was like sound waves coming to a human body. And typically the sound waves will have an impact on the brain first because you hear it through your ears, and it's one of your senses, and it goes to your brain. And then your brain like computes it to understand like what it is that it's hearing. And so if a sound frequency comes to the brain, it starts to have an impact on the molecules and the atoms themselves. So when it does that, these atoms, depending on the type of frequency, if it's audible, it can just, have a vibrational effect on the atoms. But if it is ultrasonic, it can actually break the molecules. Which I guess when you watch a cartoon and a lady sings at a really high note and like glass breaks, that's basically what's happening, is those molecules are just breaking. And so what happens then is then when it has this vibrational impact on your brain then starts to create a rippling effect into its own energetic field. And so I've talked about this in a previous video, but our body emits an electromagnetic field. And this can actually be measured through like Kirlian photography, right? And so each organ can actually emit its own frequency as well. And the largest auric field from any organ in the body actually comes from the heart. This is what makes hugs so powerful. And this is why saying something and speaking something from the heart is so powerful. It's why you can actually feel someone's emotions just by watching them. And so your brain also emits a frequency, but the brain, from what I see, becomes more impacted by music and by sound. Now, this is different if you are really emotionally impacted by the song. If it really draws like emotion from you, then it will have a bigger impact on you, on your auric field, and how you feel after listening to the song. So there is an organization called the International Organization of Standardization. Okay. This organization apparently was created by the UN, and it is the governing body for standardizing pretty much anything, right? Whether it's standardizing measurements or units, lengths, anything that we just need to use a standardized thing across the globe. This is the organization that is in charge of that. One thing that they were in charge of is the standardization of music. And so if you listen to music or if you play music, then you probably know that the standard music frequency is 440 hertz. And from what I've read, this particular frequency was established like in 1975, I think. So it really wasn't that long ago, but it was a while ago. But of course, since people have studied the different types of frequencies and what it can have on the human body, like the impact it can have on someone's brain, they have studied different hertz, and they have found that there are some frequencies that are actually very healing to the body. One research article showed that 432 hertz is actually can reduce your heart rate, it can reduce anxiety, and it can lower blood pressure. But do we know what 440 hertz can do to the human body? Well, pretty much the complete opposite. It can actually induce anxiety, increase your heart rate, and increase your blood pressure. And what is the standard frequency for music? It's 440 hertz. So then it begs the question, why would the UN create a standardization of music frequencies to be at 440, even though we know that there are other frequencies that are actually very healing? Well, of course, if you're a conspiracy theorist like myself, then you would know that it's just another way to control the public. The shadow governments of the world it is all one thing, okay? It is all one particular organization that rules the entire world. They make it look like it's multiple different countries that are ruling over their own people, when really it is actually just one big organization that hides behind those other governments in order to basically keep humans as a bit of a slave race, unfortunately. And of course, if we want to go even deeper into it, then we can talk about, alien species and how they've been on the planet for a very long time and how they are basically ruling everything. Okay. We won't go into that, but the healthcare industry, insurance industries, food industries, you name it, any major industry, the entertainment industry, they all work together to keep the general public and humans at a certain vibrational level. Because if they can keep us in a certain vibration, then it will be easier for them to manipulate us. And through the use of music is another way that they do this. And by the way, not so fun fact that I learned during this research, back in the 50s, the CIA actually played around with what they called torture music. And they use particular songs and play them on repeat over and over again to detainees that they had as a tactic for interrogation. And they would play it for like 8 hours to 24 hours, and then they would interrogate the prisoner. And if you ever want to listen to any of the songs that they have chosen, you can actually find it very easily on Google. There's like a torture music playlist on Spotify, and it's got artists like Metallica and Eminem and some other ones too. And I found that quite fascinating. I don't know exactly how to feel about that. I'm sure there's more out there. I try to find like declassified documents on, like from the CIA's website on torture music, but I couldn't find anything. And so since we know that the standard frequency for music is 440 hertz, which has been proven to induce anxiety and increase your heart rate and increase your blood pressure, then we can add in music that has words to it. There has been a famous study done by Dr. Emoto, who is a Japanese scientist, and you are probably familiar with his work. But what he did is he would take words and put them on glasses of water. And after some time has passed, he would take the water, freeze it, and then look at the water crystals under a microscope. And he found that different words would create different water crystals. And so the more high vibrational the words were, like beauty or love or like a prayer, the water crystals would come out looking like beautiful snowflakes, very symmetrical and just kind of gorgeous. But on the flip side, the water crystals that he would take from words that said like war or hate, they would come out looking very distorted and very ugly and not symmetrical at all. And so, of course, he hypothesized, right, that what you say to someone or what you say to yourself will have a physical impact on the water that's within your own body. You can even take it a step further and actually say beautiful things to your water right before drinking it. This can also be said about putting these particular high vibrational words on plants and watching them grow significantly bigger and more flourished versus the plants that had words that were negative. But he also did it with music. And so there is one photo of a water crystal that he photographed when the water was listening to Beethoven. And then here's another water crystal of them listening to like heavy metal. Now, of course, the one with the heavy metal apparently had like vulgar language in it. And so they kind of think that it came more from the language itself rather than the music. But this is a good visual representation of what music can do. And that's just to water, which we are 75% of. This is not even talking about like the frequencies and the atoms and what it's doing to your auric field. So then during my meditation, I decided to ask about two very popular music artists. One of them was Morgan Wallen, and the other one was Taylor Swift. Okay. Don't come after me if you're a fan. Listen, I like music. I like to listen to pretty much just about everything and anything. And, so it's not that I have anything personally against anybody. I was just curious. Okay. So don't come after me. This is just my opinion that came from meditation. Okay. Now, of course, like on the surface level, you would not think that their music would be negative at all. Like they look like very wholesome people, very relatable, right? Like there just doesn't seem to be anything that you can really hate on. And so when I was meditating, the information that I got on Morgan Wallen was that his music is promoting like relationship issues and like the normalization of alcoholism. Okay. And then the info that I got on Taylor Swift was her music is promoting basically like I don't want to say man bashing, but it kind like making men look bad or like kind of putting them down in a way. Okay. No, this is just what I got through meditation. Right. And so, of course, you know me, I always have to back up what I get. Right. Because, I don't want to believe everything that comes through meditation. And so I went on Spotify and I looked at the lyrics. I didn't listen to the music. I looked at the lyrics of the top songs that they are playing on Spotify. And sure enough, it actually very much aligns to what I was getting through meditation. Morgan Wallen's music, talked about, it was just a lot of relationship stuff. And I don't know if he talks about alcohol in pretty much all of them, but yeah, he kind of does, right? And then of course Taylor, like it's just all about like heartbreak and like how like these guys did her dirty. Okay. Now, one could argue that they are artists and they are expressing their own lives and their own experiences. And the reason why we like them so much is because we find it to be so relatable. However, what I got was that regardless if you find it to be relatable, it still is having a negative impact on you while you listen to it, because you may find yourself in that same situation, be like, oh wow, like they totally get it. But it is not beneficial to listen to something that is going to reinforce those negative feelings. It would be more beneficial to listen to something that would heal those aspects of yourself. And so if you are having relationship issues or if you are struggling with drinking alcohol all the time, to listen to something that is only going to reinforce that or even enable that into believing that that is just that is an acceptable lifestyle, because a music artist who has a lot of money and is very popular and has a lot of influence, they're just kind of normalizing that lifestyle. And, for Taylor, she does have a very large following, to the point where it's very cult like. I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it. And but her fan base is primarily, girls, young girls or young women. And what I got was that it's just reinforcing this dissonance that women can have with men or with the opposite sex. It's as if it's I don't know. There is no emphasis on trying to make it work with them. It is just an emphasis that they are trash, right? And so, again, this is just my opinion. I actually like some of their songs, but after getting that through meditation and then actually reading their top played songs, it really did align with like the negativity. Like the lyrics themselves were very low vibing, to be completely honest. Now, does that mean that every single one of their songs is going to promote like a negative energy? No, not necessarily, because and again, this is what I've gotten through channeling, right? Any major artist that has made it big and has a very, very big following typically have been recruited by the Illuminati, okay? The Illuminati run the entertainment industry, especially music. And you will become part of their club if they know that they can use you to influence the public. The fact that, Taylor Swift has this cult-like following, that should raise some red flags just within that. Seeing how some of her fan base react when they see her, or if how defensive they get if somebody criticizes her music, it is it's a little alarming. But the fact that these two particular artists, and I'm just using them as examples because there are a number of them, they are very wholesome appearing, right? And very relatable. And so it's very easy for them to fly under the radar when it comes to them having a particular agenda when it comes to influencing the public. Because that's what a lot of major music artists and major actors who have been recruited into the Illuminati, that is their job now, basically. From what I've seen, do they write their own music? Sure. But are they instructed to write certain types of music? Definitely. And so another thing that I channeled was that this is the reason why music is actually moving into country. Okay. So for a while, hip hop has kind of taken over the music scene, and a lot of people have learned and are starting to recognize that there is something dark going on with music, specifically with hip hop music. Okay. Now that things are coming to light, especially with P. Diddy and, oh my gosh, what is that artist's name? Was it like Juice WRLD or something? Or there was some hip hop music festival that was put on by a particular rapper, and like 5 people died. And a lot of people that attended this music festival said that there was one particular song that started to play, and a lot of people started to get very anxious and started to get headaches and started to just kind of panic. And multiple people started getting like crushed in the crowds. And I remembered watching one video of somebody being carried out, and apparently this person had passed away, right? But in the video I guess they were just kind of unconscious. But they're carrying this person away out of the crowd, and this rapper is literally just singing to them while they're being carried out. If you watch it, and I don't think I have like the actual videos, but it looked very, very ritualistic, and it looked very intentional. And so, because a lot of us are starting to see that there is something a little darker going on with that particular genre, now they're trying to push it into country, because country, right, is it's just so nice. It's fun. It's, it's very innocent. Nobody would ever suspect that listening to country music would induce anything negative. Okay. This is why Beyonce made a country album. Okay. This is why Lana Del Rey has now made a country album, which yeah, it's just very disappointing. So, interesting story, personal story that I have with Beyonce. Okay. Now, this was like, this was around when my awakening was first starting. Okay. So I think it was 2018. I went to Coachella with some friends, right? Loved music festivals. And it was the one where Beyonce headlined. Okay. It's called Baychella. Right. I wasn't exactly a Beyonce fan, but I was obviously going to see her because I was never going to get another opportunity to see her live. So I was going to go see her. So my friends and I, we go over to that stage and we're watching her. And she's wearing like this cute little yellow halter top and her hair's all curly and big. And while she's performing, I kept saying to myself, wow, she's not missing a beat. It's as if she's not even human. And I kept saying that in my head, like, it's as if she's not even human. It's as if she's not even human. At the time, I had not really understood. I knew that aliens were real, but I just didn't know like how deep everything went. And so I didn't understand why I kept saying that and what that really meant. And so we're watching it and she's putting on this performance and then the song is done. Okay. The next song that comes on, you don't see anything on the stage. It's just black. And the big, like 3 big screens pop up and they're strobe lights. So it's just strobing, right? Light. And then you see 3 figures on the screen. Okay. It's her and then 2 of her like little backup dancers. Okay. All of them are dressed in black, like black leather, black face, red eyes. Okay. And horns. Okay. I'm not even kidding. I'm not making this up. So we have 3 demonic looking figures on the screen and it's strobing. Okay. Now, of course, if you are prone to, seizures, this definitely would have given you a seizure without a doubt. Okay. The entire song, which went on for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes, was all in a demonic voice. So it literally sounded like this. And you could not understand a single word that she was saying. I don't even know if she actually was saying words, to be completely honest. Okay. So this whole song is like this. There's nobody on the stage. You just see these screens and these 3 black demon things speaking demonically and strobing lights at you. Okay. Then it's done. And then when the next song comes on, boom, she's back in her cute little halter top. Her hair is all big and she goes on to this little pop song and it's as if nothing even happened. All right. I turned to my friends and I was like, did anyone else see that? And everyone was like, yeah, that was kind of weird. Right. And then that was it. Because the rest of the, concert was just all bubbly and fun and whatever. Years later, so now I'm like going through my awakening and I'm starting to learn about music artists, about celebrities, about the Illuminati, about dark rituals that they perform in order to get into the Illuminati. People selling their souls, which is a real thing. Okay. And I remembered that concert and I tried to Google, YouTube. I tried to search for that particular set and I couldn't find it anywhere. And it almost got to a point where I was like, did I imagine that? I found one forum of one girl who said she was at that concert and she said, I was there. Whatever she did was very demonic. And there's no doubt in my mind that she was trying to put some sort of spell on us. And that's when I knew that I definitely was not making that up. I definitely saw what I saw. Okay. Since that experience, I have been very discerning and very careful with what music artists I see because because now I know without a doubt there is something that they're doing on stage to the people. And of course, it's going to affect some of us differently, especially if you are aware of what's happening, then you can be in a neutral state and just observe what they're doing rather than actually be influenced by it. But nonetheless, it is, a lot of them are, from what I've seen through meditation, are performing rituals. And it's the energy of their fans watching it that makes it even more powerful. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but a lot of music artists claim to have alter egos. Beyonce's alter ego is named Sasha Fierce, right? Is this an alter ego, or is this something that is actually dwelling within her that comes out during these performances to influence the public? And during that whole rabbit hole, after that experience, I learned that during her Super Bowl performance, I think half of the stadium lost power. So just something to think about, okay? But again, it's not that Beyonce actually wanted to make a country album. We all know that, right? But she's not in charge of her music. So what does this mean? What does this mean for us, and what do we have to do, especially if we love music? Well, the first thing that you can do is you can just read the lyrics of all the music that you listen to. Just read them and decide for yourself if those words and those phrases and those mantras are something that will actually be beneficial for you. Not that it's something cool or funny or relatable, not in any of those senses, but can it actually have a positive impact on you and your life? Because although maybe we want to support some artists, are they also supporting us? Many of these artists understand how powerful music actually is. There's a reason why there is music in rituals, in churches. This is why you chant. This is why you sing at a certain note or a certain frequency. It is extremely powerful. And they know this. And so if you're going to support an artist, are they supporting you back through their music? Another thing that you can do is to just check in with yourself to see how you feel. Okay. Make sure that you're kind of at a neutral state, and then listen to an album or, listen to a song. I think listening to an album would actually give you a better understanding of the actual impact that it's having on your auric field. But you can try it with a song too. And just check in with yourself afterwards and see how you feel. Do you feel more relaxed or uplifted or excited? Or do you feel kind of anxious or depressed or maybe even angry? I've actually played around with this while working in the urgent care because as the provider, I get to choose the music that is played. And I've actually have had a few employees come up to me and tell me that they like my music, even though they don't know it or they've never heard of it. They like it because it reduces their anxiety. And that 100% was intentional because the urgent care for me personally, as a sensitive empath, starseed, right, can already have an impact on me. And so I have to be very careful with my energy. And so if I know that I can use music as a way of calming myself down along with calming others down, especially other patients, then I definitely try to do that. And on the flip side, I've had employees come up to me and say that when they work with other providers, they play certain types of music and it makes them very anxious. And sometimes when they're done, they go home and they're just still so anxious that they just listen to nothing on their way home, like in their car. So for me personally, I actually prefer to listen to music that doesn't have any lyrics in it at all and that's another thing that I needed to bring up. So if you find yourself getting music stuck in your head, sometimes that is actually created intentionally. And the reason why is because it takes away from your ability to be in the present moment. So if I'm trying to meditate, I'm trying to quiet my mind, and then all of a sudden the song pops up and it's just on repeat in my head. Not all music is intended for that, but there are a lot of music that are intended for that. It just takes away from your ability to be very conscious and to be very intentional with your own thinking. And so again, because I'm an auditory learner and because sound and music has such an impact on me, I prefer to listen to music that doesn't have any lyrics at all. And then it makes it easier for me to judge what kind of impact it's having on me, because then I don't have to worry about the words. I just listen to how my body is feeling. And it's so funny because it reminds me of this conversation that I had with an old coworker. He is Orthodox Christian. And it was so great when I worked with him because he's very devout and very knowledgeable. He's pre-med, just a very smart guy. But it was fun to talk to him about my spirituality because we would almost like compare notes in a very open and very, just in a way that was very accepting of each other's beliefs. And we would often find like a lot of connection, right? And so I told him my beliefs and philosophies on music and the kind of impact that it has on your energy, because I have felt this way for a long time. And so I've tried to be a little bit more intentional about what I listen to. And he was like, well, maybe that's why you're not supposed to listen to secular music. And at the time I didn't know what secular even meant. And he said, secular music is music that does not praise God. And so according to the Bible, you should not be listening to music that does not praise God. And it almost had his wheels turning a little bit because he had just gotten back from a hip hop show because that's what he primarily listened to. But he also said that he kind of felt a certain way while he was listening to it. And he kind of questioned whether or not he should be listening to that music. But then us having this conversation almost took him back to those feelings. And it basically just kind of reinforced that maybe he needs to be a little bit more intentional about the music he listens to. And so I just found that to be quite fascinating because, I don't believe that if music that doesn't praise God is bad. What I take from that particular verse or saying from the Bible is that, God is really just love. Unconditional love. It's the one true thing that exists within the universe. And so if it is music that does not give off unconditional love or compassion or beauty or joy, and instead gives off, negativity or putting down others or addiction, then in my opinion, I could consider that to be secular, right? Something that is not of the highest of source frequency. You may also want to consider looking into different frequencies that are used to help clear different chakras. I think I can find like a list somewhere, but there are certain frequencies that you can meditate to and chant to that will help clear your chakras. So I just thought that was some fun information to share with you guys. And I hope you find it helpful, especially if you love music the way I do. But I hope you liked the video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Consider subscribing, and I will see you next time.